Welcome to the wonderful wood Waikato Sheds. We're at Bronix Barlina. We just had a fantastic barbecue, but we just had a great idea, Sean, so we thought we should film a video. What is it? Let us in on it.
Well, I reckon that we should get our own bar here at Waikato Shed Company. What do you think?
It's a dangerous thought. Mark's already put this thought out there, you know. A bar would be pretty epic. We've got a barbecue area, we've got barlinas, but we don't actually have a bar. But what sort of bar?
Well, we have seen a few bars in all the different sheds we've done along the way. And the one that comes to mind is our good friend KJ. He's got a good one, Shed 22.
He does have a good run, Shed 22.
Sure, he has some good ideas as well.
Yeah, he'll have some good ideas, good contacts. Oh well, should we give KJ a buzz and see if we can go and find out, catch him up?
Sounds like a good idea.
Alright, make it happen. Awesome, we're here at KJ's shed. It looks awesome. I love all the hats up here and that. But let's go and find the man, the myth, the legend. Let's talk bars. Ping pong table in here. How are your skills on this, young Sean?
I'm pretty good at the old table tennis, you know. I like to do a little bit of it at home every now and then. But
Most nights.
Yeah, pool's definitely my go-to.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll see later. We'll see.
Maybe a pool table at the office too.
Oh yeah, well that's it. We're talking bar.
G'day lads.
G'day, mate.
Alright.
How are you?
How we going? Sorry I won't get up. I've got a broken
Okay,
wing. How we going?
Good.
Oh hey look. What is this place?
Yeah, man.
Shed 22.
Shed 22.
Here we are.
It's famous, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
What's
it's
it
done nice. You've added some more to it. I like it. I like the lights. I like all the memorabilia.
The names on the honours board, eh? That's the thing that I love the most.
Yeah.
Look back on the history. 6 years we've been going.
Yeah.
Love
It reminds me a bit like a rugby club where you just stand, you just wander and look through all the cabinets. You know, like there's just something to look at and read everywhere you look. So it's you can spend a bit of time here, just sort of browsing through the place.
What I love, it's got a bit of character. Well, hopefully it's got a bit of character, and I think that's what every good bar needs, eh? You know.
Yeah.
So what's up with you guys? What's happening?
As I said, we're at work and we're like, man, we've got this awesome shed. Everyone loves it. They come in and see it. But we've been around so many of the clients' sheds, and when you go back a few years later, just like yours, 9 out of 10 times you find they've crafted themselves a bar. And we've seen some mean bars. And I'm like, well, if we've got a show shed, shouldn't we have a show shed bar?
Hey, I
Seems like a good
like the way you're thinking. So you guys want to put a bar out at Waikato Shed?
Yeah, we're thinking out the back. We're thinking building a nice bar, something, you know.
Jason Davis, that's the best thing I've ever heard you say.
It's all right.
What a great idea. I love it. So as a customer, I could come out and look at one of the shed, how it's built, and have a beer as well.
Have a beer as
You
well.
have customers
Coffee
line
at the start, beer at the end. That's it, eh?
Look at the staff just going, yeah, great idea, boss, great idea.
That's it. Bring the wife, bring the kids, bring the dog, bring them all. Hang out at Waikato Sheds. What do you reckon the key is? I mean, this is a pretty iconic shed bar. What do you reckon some of the keys are, you know, to...
Oh, I definitely character.
Yeah.
There's a bit about us, or the guys that are involved in Shed 22 that's in here. I do love the honours board because it's got a bit of a record of who's been here, and people do look at it, as you say, Shane. But I think if you're going to build a bar, you don't need to talk to a bar expert.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I suppose we're experts at being in bars. But in terms of actually building a bar, yeah. I know you're main mates. I've seen a video from a few years ago, Good George.
Daryl Headley, he was a guest here last month.
So who is Mr. Daryl Headley?
Daryl Headley's the owner of Good George Brewing.
Oh.
Do you guys like a bit of Good
Now you're
George?
talking.
Oh, yeah, Fox.
Fancy bit of
What
good.
Actually, Saturday night, the haze of glory was getting me feeling pretty glorious, actually.
Hey, how ironic. Do you imagine Daryl Headley with your place, or the Waikato Sheds, as an ex-orchard, right?
Yeah.
Good George makes cider.
Oh.
Just keeps
What a
you-
great tie-in.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? I'd give him a call and see whether he could get him on board.
Yeah.
Give me 2 minutes, eh?
No.
Hold out on me.
Cheers, KJ.
Broken wing. No problems, eh? Good people look after good people.
So, that'd be awesome. Good George.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Love
That'd
a
be
Good
great beer.
George.
Yeah.
Strong Waikato brand, yeah.
What's the bars that we've been to? I mean, I've got a few up. That one that we did, the ultimate man cave, maybe up on the hill with the corrugated iron and the ceiling. That was awesome.
Was that the one with a bit of Waikato memorabilia?
Yeah, that was full of the
very
Waikato
cool.
memorabilia. That was awesome.
I really liked the one in Paeroa, the shed house portal
Yeah,
frame one.
that
We
was-
had a sauna in there too. That was
Had a
pretty
sauna. I love the pass-through window from the kitchen.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Mr. Martin Bennett had a bit more of a diner feel, but I suppose
Yeah.
you could class it as a bit of a bar.
That was definitely a retro bar.
Mm.
Whangamata 8, the Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an awesome one. Francis's, that was a cool bar. I think that's the thing, is it's whether you have, like, I like this one with the table. You can tell this one off and has like a group of people around it. But then I also like it, like at home, I've got one, where you got a bar leaner, it's mainly there for 2, 3, 4, people hanging out,
We can get Bronick to make some of his bar leaders too.
Yeah, that's it, old
talking,
Brondog, yeah. That's it. Man, there's been a few good ones. That Ultimate Man Cave, that was an awesome bar. Where they had the full bar, the music room set up in there, like drum kits, everything. That one was a rager.
Definitely plenty of inspiration that we can draw from.
Yeah, we could speak to, who we got to talk to as well. He's also got a legendary bar, Mr. Paul.
Oh yeah,
Builder.
Paul.
His house is like a bar.
Yeah, he's got a full stage and all, Mr.
Yeah,
Mizzo.
so that's it.
I'm sure he'll have some good input in towards our bar.
Yeah.
Just spoke to him, and he's there now. If you guys are keen, he could take us and we'll go down and have a chat and get an expert to give us an opinion, eh? What are your thoughts?
Alright, well, let me check my watch. I think we've got time to make it happen. I think we can make it to Good George and we'll be alright.
Yeah.
Brilliant, let's do it, eh?
Alright, that's right.
Awesome.
Alright, we're here. Awesome. Alright, KJ, the man who's mates with everybody in the Waikato. Yeah, take us on, let's meet him.
Oh, let's go meet the man, eh? Look, Daryl Hadley. You don't get any bigger than that in the bar world, eh?
Legendary.
And there's a say, good people look after good people at Good George. Okay,
Yeah.
look. Oh, here he is.
Alright.
The man himself, Daryl Henley. We've been talking you up, so this is awesome. Great to see you.
Yeah, likewise, KJ.
Jacob Davies, Daryl Henley.
How are you? How's it going, mate?
Shane.
Yeah.
Sean.
How's it
How are
going?
you, Sean? Good.
So they say good people look after good people, so we've come to Good George to...
Yeah, thanks for coming along, guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Shall we look around?
I'd love to.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
There you guys go. I've been here once or twice before.
Oh, really?
So this little still we bought in 2019, and this is where we did our very first whiskey on. And you might not remember that whiskey because we ended up turning most of it into hand sanitizer when COVID came along. So if you ever had some hand sanitizer donated by Good George and it smelled like chocolate, it's because it was it had come through our very own brewery, and then we converted it quickly into hand sanitizer when the world didn't have any, right? For the size of it, it's a little still, it probably has churned out more litres of alcohol for that size of still, probably anywhere in the world, and we've had it working for us, and it's just been a little beauty. And about 6 months ago we were lucky enough to purchase an upgrade, and I'll show you that a little bit later on the tour.
Check it out. Is that the Good George Ute? Is that the orange one?
The Combi.
The pub tub?
The Combi Ute. Yeah, it is.
We saw that at the V-Dub shop last week.
Yeah. I mean, these are some of our original labels from way back in the day. So this is Ollie. He's slaving away in the lab. Ollie's in charge of production, quality control here at the brewery. Every product we send through here, especially the ones that are, obviously fermented products that are coming through, craft beer and what we do, all the products are actually all alive. We don't pasteurise anything, so it's really important that we make sure all our products are really high standard. There's no bugs or going to be any issues after we release them out into the universe and send them off to our customers. So we've got a full-time lab running here, and of course more interesting than quality control is all the cool recipes that we came up with when we were inventing new types of gin or new flavours of cider and the whole bit. It's all starting in here. And we have regular tasting sessions where we're tasting the new flavours, and that's a cool part of what we do here.
So you reckon if we had our own bar, could we have sort of tasting sessions?
Absolutely.
It's like, have we got a... Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. It's,
Get our Monday meetings going.
Yeah, quality control. Take the edge off a Monday morning, eh?
Yeah,
Nothing like
that's
a
it.
little few sips.
Encourage Sean to turn up on a Monday morning.
Beers on offer.
Yeah.
Like from the first idea, how long would it take for a flavour to get onto the shelves?
That's a really good question, because some of our flavours are led by the brew team or the distillery team might have the idea, and then they bring it to life. And sometimes it might be more marketing led, that we know that something's going really well. We've heard about a new flavour or something that's really customers are seeking or they're asking us for. So the ideas come in from all directions. Our ability to take a new flavour from idea to market is really quick, and that's our advantage over some of the bigger breweries and distilleries. So we could take an idea, we could invent a new flavour of gin today, we could be putting that through the still tomorrow, and we could be bottling about 3 days later.
Awesome.
So often the hardest part, or the most time-consuming part, is the artwork and getting the labels developed right.
Yeah.
So that's the only sort of side to it. Beer takes a little bit longer in production. It can take 2 or 3 weeks, but yeah, we can. That's the art of it all, and especially with selling online direct to customers as well, we can really get things out there really quickly. This part might not film as well because we've just come off our big peak summer production. So basically a big beer fridge. Every good man cave should have a beer fridge.
Yeah.
Basically what we've got in there is all of our products come off production line and they come in and they're kept cold. Particularly beer, really important, and that's just keeping quality as high as we can before we dispatch it. So we've got this facility here, our little beer fridge, and then off-site we also use some other cool storage to keep our beer cold.
So what's the ideal temperature for a beer fridge?
About 2 degrees, but it kind of depends. Some craft beer purists actually like it around about that 7 or 8, because you get different flavours coming through. I always think, you get a lager or a pilsner, you want it around that sort of 2 to 3 mark, and maybe you might have something a little bit more hoppy. You want some flavours coming through, you might have it around 6%, 6 degrees or something like that. But it is a real personal preference. Time of day, after KJ's mowed the lawns, he's looking for something really icy cold. But on a warm a cold winter's night in front of the fire, you want a stout or something like that. You don't mind if it's a little bit more towards room temperature. So it's a personal sort of thing, right? But every good bar needs a top quality beer fridge. While we're standing here, this is Bubbles. This is a pretty cool machine. Some people might know about a year ago, or just over a year ago, there's a major CO2 shortage in New Zealand, and it really affected us badly. We use CO2 for packaging, carbonating products. We use the CO2 a lot. We go through about a tonne a week, and up to that point we've been buying it in, everything. Overnight the price of CO2 went up 600%, so huge cost, especially for a craft brewery like ourselves. So we had to get innovative, so we imported this machine. Basically what it's doing, it's collecting, and as a pipe under the road, it's collecting CO2 that's coming off the natural fermentation of our beer that's in tank. It's putting it through a special process called scrubbing, cleaning it up, and then we send it off into our storage tanks, and then we use it again. So what that's basically done is stopped about 800 kilograms of CO2 going into the atmosphere every week from what we do here, which was terrible, right? Never knew how much it was going into the atmosphere. Now we capture that all, and we're able to put it through this machine, and we're able to use it again. And it's the best quality CO2. It's not CO2 collected from oils and rocks in the ground. This is actually from the actual brewing process itself. So it's a circular piece of sustainability. We're really proud of it. And what you're listening to it there, that's it scrubbing. It can do 15 kgs an hour when there's lots of fermentation happening. It's a really cool thing. This is the only machine of its kind in Australasia, Australia and New Zealand, and it's been a huge success for us in terms of our carbon footprint and CO2. It's just amazing. Getting better at actually how we recover the rest of the gases as well, in terms of what we're able to use and put through. Our aim in the next 12 months is to be 100% self-sufficient with CO2. We were driven there by cost initially, but the research we've done, it's ended up in a real cool place for us.
Saving the world, one beer at a time. And where do you guys source all the bottles from? Cans and that,
So all the bottles come out of OI glass in Auckland. So the glass gets recycled through there as well as new glass. We've got special moulds made for our squealers, and the cans are produced locally as well. Yeah. So they're all New Zealand made products.
New Zealand aluminium and New Zealand jobs making the cans?
Yeah, 100%.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. Well, predominantly we use, wherever we can, we use New Zealand malts in the process. Occasionally for like Pilsners and different things, we might use German malts, but they're coming from Gladfields in the South Island and Canterbury region, important part of the beer making process. There's not a lot else that goes into making beer.
Yeah.
What do we put in beer, Josh?
What do we put in beer?
Yeah.
Well, there's hops. There's yeast.
Yeah. Malt and water. So that's there was a spot test to make sure he was listening to me. And I'll show you that process shortly. But again, Kiwi made as we can. Yeah, some of our best beers are totally New Zealand malts. Cans are, from a packaging perspective, the minimum order quantity is 50,000 cans. So up until then, you might see us do paper labels.
Yeah.
Paper labels have their place in small runs. We just did some for Seddon Cricket recently. They cost twice as much, basically, to do a paper label. The upside of that is you don't have to be quite as accurate as with your forecasting. So the little tanks over there are the ones that are storing the CO2 that we're producing ourselves, but we're still reliant on these man packs coming in for the extra bit of CO2 we need at the moment. This is the malt that we've just looked at after it's been through the brewing process. Okay. It's called spent grain or brewer's grain. So basically the malt's been cracked and all of the sugars and starch comes out of the grain, and then and that's what forms the basis or the basics of the recipe of making beer. This goes to feed goat farmers in Te and we've also used it ourselves to fatten cattle beasts and finish them on the grain. It's a beautiful texture. It doesn't get the Heart Foundation tick, I don't think. But yeah, we're producing about 10 tonne of this a week, and the farmer comes and takes it away on a daily basis. Over and behind here is our packaging shed. Not quite as impressive as your guys' shed, but we're working on that. We're saving up our money. We'll get there one day. Currently we've got some mango mimosa cider coming off the line there in the squealer. When we first started Good George, this was everything that we've just looked at was all in the shed, and we had a little office in the back where my wife did the accounts and sent out to our 5 customers, monthly invoices and statements and things like that. At that time we had 1 brewer and a part-time assistant who also was doubled up as a bit of a sales rep, and that was 12 years ago.
So did it start as a brewery and then go into a bar, or did the bar?
Bar's always been there.
Yeah.
And actually when we opened you could probably call us a brew pub because we only made beer to sell on premises. Yeah. But we always designed the brand to scale up. Yeah, very cool. And it was always in our plan to be much more than just a pub. It's still the spiritual home of the brand, and we love it. We love Frankton. We've gone from 1 building to across 5 different buildings now. And, so as our neighbours kind of get fed up with our trucks and also the smells of the brewer. I mean, I like that smell, but not everybody's sort of thing, right? As we're brewing. But we love Frankton. A lot of our most favourite customers live or work within, a kilometre of the brewery.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
Waikato Heartland, or Hamilton Heartland, really.
Yeah. So when we started, this was the brew house, and we had 3 of these tanks here. One's been shifted now, and that was it. Pretty much after we started getting going, we knew that 3 little tanks weren't going to be enough. Nice. And so what you see behind me here is really a story about how we've grown. We've gone from 3 little 2,500 litre tanks to the tank farm out here. These are 10,000 litre tanks, and we're making cider directly in these tanks. We're obviously also fermenting the beer that comes out of the brewery. It goes straight into these tanks, and they can ferment in here for somewhere between sort of 8 days to 15 days, depends on the style of beer.
Yeah. So obviously the ciders are all getting pretty popular then, aren't they?
Yeah, well, cider's had a bit of a renaissance. We've put out some new cider flavours just recently, particularly the mango mimosa cider. You just saw packaging. It's going really, really strong for us. So we love ciders. We really do well where we can innovate with flavours and use natural ingredients and really have a bit of fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
We've got a hot liquor tank here, we've got a cold liquor tank. One's set at 90 degrees, one's set at 2 degrees. We're using our hot liquor tank to mash in our grain. We're going to mash in, do a 45-minute rest, and then we're going to sparge it and loiter it through, which is transferring it basically to kettle. extracting all the sugars out of it we can, all the fermentable sugars that will turn into alcohol, and then we'll boil it for 1 hour, depending on the style of beer. It might be a Pilsner, it might go for a little bit longer. And then we'll send it to our whirlpool, which will basically set it in a circle, put our hops in, our flavouring hops, our whirlpool hops, whirlpool that, and that will bring all the sediment to the middle, and then we'll give it a 15-minute rest, which helps settle it out and compact it. And then we've got our cold liquor tank for casting. So we've got a heat exchanger down there. It has basically valleys that go next to each other with plates in between them. And the cold liquor is going on one side of the plate and the hot wort is going on the other side of the plate, which is basically bringing that wort down from 95 degrees down to about 20 degrees. And then we're recovering that hot water, that cold water that has now turned to hot water. We'll recover that back into our HLT, basically just to help save on energy, help save some water. And then we're good to send it to a tank and start and pitch yeast and start fermenting it and making the beer that we want. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, too easy.
Yeah.
What about the hazies? How do you, is that not as filtered as much, or how does the hazies like?
So basically, the hazies have a lot of oats, generally have a lot of oats, flaked wheat, which create a lot of haze for that, for the beer, but it's also not getting any kettle finings, which helps not drop out the proteins within the wort. And then the type of yeast that we use for that actually helps the yeast, once it's finished fermenting, helps it stay in suspension to give it a bit more haze as well. So there's a combination of things that go into making a hazy beer. Some say it's a lazy beer, but it's really not. There's some technical aspects to it to make it a hazy beer.
Was it the bar that drove the success, or was it the beers that drove the success?
Right at the start, it was the bar that was paying the bills and allowed us to grow organically, and it got people in. If you go back in 12 years in the Waikato, there wasn't a lot of craft beer being drunk at all, let alone produced. So at the start it was a nice way for people to come in, enjoy the hospitality, eat good food, and sample these beers and these beer styles that they hadn't heard of before. And then over time, of course, it sort of flipped around, and now the brewery's driving the innovation. You know, it's distributing throughout New Zealand, and we've sort of grown from being a local brand into certainly strong locally, but recognised across the country. This is still the spiritual home. It's where we put things on, we trial things on tap. Any good bar should be, you know, having new brews on occasionally. If we have a special beer release, we'll do something every Thursday or Friday night, get a new release out there, and our locals are the first to try it.
So if we're building the bar at work, mainly it'll be just for the staff, but then we're going to have lots of customers, clients, all the tradies, all the contractors and that coming in. What do you reckon? Should everybody putting them through tasting boards, or like what's the sort of some of the keys to that it sort of cross over? Like you've been in KJ's bar, that's a pretty successful shed bar. Like, what are we going to look to do?
Well, every time I go to KJ's bar, there is a different beer on tap. It's not just the same because people they can get that at home, right? So they want a little bit of something different. You've got to cater to all tastes though. Not everybody loves a big hoppy beer. People still want to have something that's crisp and refreshing. So you need a good range, but maybe you need a hero product. Maybe you need something that is always available, and you walk in and there might be a shrine to it on the wall, or something cool like that. So as a part of this process, we might find out what that hero product is.
I like it.
So those who know Good George know that we're just not just about the beer. We're always playing around and experimenting with different things, and this is one of our latest experiments. Little machines that we've got here. Everyone loves a good espresso martini, and we worked out a way to put espresso martini into a keg and run it through a conventional beer line in a bar. And what we end up with is an espresso martini. You don't have to wait 10 minutes in line for a bartender to take 25 minutes to actually shake and pour. This is one that we can just go, and it just instantly comes out and it's ready to go. We can, as you'll see, it start settling through there. So we use a special nitrogen infusion to make that happen, and that was all created in that lab we saw earlier. This is one of the coolest things that we're now putting out in the country. Something to consider for the bar, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you want to give it a try, Kathy? Give us a review on this one. I'll give it a sniff. Yeah, nice. Deep coffee notes. Oh yeah, I can imagine Bronick nailing about 10 of these a day. That's delicious. That's a sweet and delicious treat.
You wouldn't go through enough to justify having it, but it is certainly something we have in like in our events kit. So if you had a special events, like you could have a cocktail night in your bar, and we can bring that along and pour that for your special event. So something to think about when you put the bar together is how it scales up. Typically it's only 5 or 6 people there after work. But what happens when you've got a product launch and you want to have 60 people there?
Yeah, well that's how we thought, and then we thought, because we've got this space available, like there's like, what about, you know, like car clubs coming through, like there's a whole lot of sort of things that you could actually use being on the highway, and just sort of think bigger than just sort of sheds and just like, okay, we can only, that's it, is
Shed 22 on tour.
Yeah, that's it, Shed 22 on tour is, yeah, I think there's a sort of, yeah, when we do it, obviously we want to do it for, you know, just the team to have a beer and enjoy themselves, and the guy, you know, people to come to, but also to be able to use the space a little bit more. Like, I think that'd be cool.
Awesome. We need some space for some kegs in your bar. They can be tucked under the counter, or they can be put in a chiller out the back. Let's see how the design works out. Our kegs, we have a few more than just what you see here as well, and they're a mix of 30 and 50 litre kegs. When a customer orders a keg from us, we ship it in that keg. Arrives there, they keep it cold, and then it goes into, obviously poured into the glass. Customers enjoy it, and when the keg's empty, the kegs have actually got sensors, and then the convoy can come along, they understand, or they can actually see when a keg is empty and sitting ambient, and they know that it's ready to get picked up, and they organise, they pick it up, and then they return them to us as we need to draw down on them. So we used to own our own keg fleet, but this is just actually a way more efficient way to do it.
Yeah, that's very cool.
We have about 4,000 kegs in different places of circulation at one time. So the guys just been down to Motueka at Mac Hops for the hop harvest. It's an annual event that happens this time of year, and so we're getting the freshest hops coming to us, and we get them air freighted in especially. So basically they get picked, and within 2 days they're in the brew house, and it's the fresh hop leaf. So you're getting just the very freshest and the most interesting aromas. Pretty cool and special time of year for us beer nerds. And this year we've done something a little bit more, a little bit different, and it's just to showcase where we're from, which is Frankton here in Hamilton. So we've done a fresh out of Frankton squealer.
I like that.
And you guys are the very first. This hasn't even hit the market yet. We're literally just taking it off the pallet, the empty bottles. The beer itself is just sitting in a tank. It's about 2/3 of the way through the fermentation, and it's a little bit like Christmas for the brewers, because they get to unwrap their presents early next week, and then our customers are all eagerly awaiting. There's 20 bars around New Zealand that have signed up to take this, and they're all going to get 2 kegs delivered to them next week, all cold, ready to go. It's the most delicious way to enjoy a beer. So far it's apparently tasting awesome through the process, but we have to wait.
Do these become like collector's editions? And
Yeah, again, might be something to think about for the bar, but we've got customers who've collected every single one of them, and on their mantelpiece, on their top shelf, above their fridge at home. And of course, the more out there the design, the more collectible they are.
Yeah, I mean that's very cool.
Yeah. This is the distillery space. It's obviously a working day here for us, so it's there's plenty going on, and there's bits and pieces around. We actually do hold functions and events here, clear it all out, and we do whiskey tastings and get people in and have a good time. As I promised before, this is our new still. It's been in operation, and we're making whiskey on this every day of the week now. Most of our whiskey is going into a barrel, especially for customers. So we're selling customers barrels. They get to design the whiskey with us. help us with the recipe. They pick the barrel that they'd like their whiskey to go into, and we age it for them for 5 years. And it's just something we've been doing for the last 6 months, and it's proving really, really popular. So a customer buys a barrel, and after we've designed the recipe for them, they get to select their barrel, which in this case, these barrels are both ex-bourbon barrels, so they're coming from Tennessee. They might be from Jack Daniels or Heaven Hill, something like that. And we get the customers in, we get their group, we get them in 9 mates, so 10 at a time. They can come in here, they actually take the whiskey that's been through our still and fill the barrel. We whack the cork in, we have a few beers, something to eat, and they sign the barrel, and then we'll tuck this barrel up safely for 5 years while it ages. Every year we get it, have a little sample. People come in who own the barrel and they get to taste, see how it's maturing over the years. They can even change the barrel oak itself after 3 years if they want something a little bit more. They might want to finish it in a Merlot barrel, something like that, just to give a different flavour. So this is something that we've started doing, as I said, in the last sort of 6 months or so. We've already got about 45 people that have signed up, and we're filling their barrels now. So something to think about for the shed bar.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, it's something we could do a barrel specifically for your bar, and maybe even age it in the bar. Like, I don't know of a man cave that's got a real whiskey aging it.
Well, because we want some cool stuff. But we also want some talking points, you know. That's it when people are coming in, you want to see, hey, these are, you know, cool ideas that you'd see in other places, and like, that's it. The dream shed needs the dream bar. So.
And everyone loves a good whiskey, you know. You know, at the end, just to top off the end of the night. Yeah. Some people like to start the night with it. Yeah. It's not me, but look, in 5 years' time, who knows? I might be drinking it for breakfast. Yeah. So this is pretty special. Because we're talking about bars and things like that, there's probably a couple of ideas in here that you guys might enjoy. So if you buy a barrel off us, included in the purchase price of the barrel is your barrel filling ceremony for 10 people. So you get to come into this space, use it exclusively, except for this guy. Tyler's going to organise some tasting, some whiskey tasting for us right now. You get to use this space, have something to eat, go down, fill your barrel, sign it on here and come back. And behind here we've got the what every good bar has. The old pool table. So when you get to a bar, you've got to think about, okay, what height am I going to be sitting at? I'm going to be sitting down, I'm going to be at a leaner. What am I going to do when I get a bit bored or we run out of conversation? Shall we have a game of pool or a game of darts? Shall we have a competition? And that's where one beer turns, of course we all know one turns into like 15. So here we are. We've got some real whiskey lovers amongst the crew. So I took a sample of some whiskey to KJ's shed recently for a gathering we had there, and it went down pretty good, didn't it? Even though there were some people there who hadn't really tasted whiskey before, and were a little bit afraid, and realised how smooth it is.
I'm not a big whiskey fan, but I actually quite enjoy it.
Yeah. So how whiskey ages is basically, over time, it's getting its flavour from the barrel, and how to accelerate that sort of aging process, if you like, is by the temperature fluctuations. So as the barrel heats up during the warmth of the day, the liquid's going in, or getting drawn out into the oak, and then as it gets cold at night, it's coming back in. So you get a situation like we have here in the Waikato, where we get those frosty mornings, but beautiful, clear, sunny days, warm days. That's really accelerating the aging process. So we're able to do things here at the distillery in the Waikato climate that you actually can't do in many climates around the world. It's quite unique. So we get the situation of why should we be aging whiskey here? It's actually why not? Why wouldn't you want to do it here? Why would you not want to do it here as opposed to in Scotland where it's 0 degrees in the night and 2 degrees in the afternoon? So we've really seen some our whiskey perform well when judged against some 12-year-old Scottish single malts.
And did you discover that after you started, or was that a reason why you started?
A bit of both. You never know with whiskey, it's a unique product. You just don't know what it's going to be like after 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You get an indication after that sort of first 6 months, but you really don't know. So We got to the sort of 4-year mark and we had some people who knew their stuff taste it for us and go, holy shit, this is really, really good. And we knew we were onto something at that point in time. So this whiskey will be going off. It's already won a silver medal as a 4-year-old whiskey in the New Zealand Spirit Awards. So it'll be going off and getting judged. We're sending it to competitions around the world this year. So can't wait. Can't predict how these things go, but we know it's, even from you guys tasting it, there's a real smoothness to it. So cheers guys, it's been awesome.
Cheers, man.
Awesome hosting you. What you're really here for though is to talk about the bar and the shed and what that could be. So at Good George, we make the beer, we make